Okay, so first off, I haven't actually read Gods Behaving Badly, but for whatever reason, I chose to major in Greek and Roman studies. So technically, I should know something about the subject. I mainly focused on the actual history, less on the mythology, but I'll try my best. So to start off, Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus was basically this big housing complex for the gods on top of like a huge mountain. The mythology is kind of vague, to be honest. As far as I can tell, the gods were basically wasted 24/7, and Olympus was party central. They also held trials there and deliberated on, the fate of mankind or whatever. It's not really important. As you can imagine, the gods didn't always get along. Imagine a bunch of drunk teenagers, but if they were immortal, you know? It wasn't always pleasant. So we'll do a quick rundown of the 12 major Greek gods that you'll be reading about in the book. We'll go in alphabetical order because that's the order that they're listed on Wikipedia. Okay, so we'll start with Aphrodite. Aphrodite was the goddess of love and beauty, and she was born in a perfectly normal way. A god had his penis cut off, it fell into the ocean, and she rose out of the water. You've probably seen that picture of her, the painting where she's coming out of the big shell and she's naked, all that stuff. Zeus was actually worried that her good looks would cause jealousy among the gods, so he married her off to the ugliest god, which definitely worked out, as you'll see later. Ares was the god of war, and he was also kind of a dick. He was very violent and uncontrollable. He slept around a lot, even for a Greek god. I think he had something like 50 kids. He had 6 of them with his half-sister, Aphrodite, which is pretty messed up, but incest was also common among the gods. Interesting fact, he was the god of war, but he was on the losing side of the Trojan War. Up next is Artemis. She was the goddess of the hunt. She could control animals and was really good at archery. One time, there's this guy, Adonis, who claimed he was a better hunter than Artemis, so she sent a wild boar to murder him. Killing people who insult you is a recurring theme in Greek mythology. Athena was the goddess of wisdom, courage, skill, strength, and strategy. Basically, she was really good at everything, and for whatever reason, not all the gods liked her. Poseidon hated her, especially when the Greeks named Athens in her honor instead of him. And she was also a virgin, which is pretty unique among the gods. Demeter was the goddess of the harvest. She had a daughter with Zeus named Persephone, who became the queen of the underworld. She was associated with flowers and grain, and was often shown riding in a chariot. Honestly, out of all the gods, she's probably the most mentally stable, and therefore the least interesting. Dionysus was the god of wine and ecstasy, like the feeling, not the drug. Anyone who worshipped him was kind of thought of as insane or crazy. He was born out of Zeus's thigh, which makes me wonder if the Greeks had any knowledge of human anatomy whatsoever. He was also the guy who gave Midas the Midas touch, and he discovered the art of winemaking. So, Eros was the god of love and the son of Aphrodite. He was the Greek equivalent of Cupid. The little fat baby flies around. So, Eros flew around and shot people with arrows until they loved each other. I don't know why that worked, but it did. Hephaestus was the god of craftsmanship, and he was ugly as hell. I mentioned him earlier. He somehow managed to get married to Aphrodite. When she cheated on him with Ares, he caught them together and tied them with an unbreakable chain, then dragged them in front of the other gods, who all laughed at them. Also, he was born with a club foot, and his own mother threw him out of Mount Olympus for being physically handicapped. So, pretty rough. Now we come to Hera, probably best known for being Zeus's wife. She was also his sister. I told you there'd be more incest. She was the goddess of women and marriage, even though Zeus cheated on her like 5 times a week. But she had most of his mistresses killed or turned into animals or cursed for all eternity, so it wasn't all bad. For example, this Libyan queen slept with Zeus, and so Hera killed all of her children. Pretty badass. Hermes, this is kind of a quick one. He was the messenger of the gods. He was known for outwitting and tricking the other gods, sometimes just for fun. Also, his sandals had wings on them. Pretty cool. Poseidon You've probably heard of him. When the world was divided into 3 domains, he got stuck with the ocean, so you can see why he wasn't always in a great mood. The ocean kind of sucks. He had 2 nicknames, the Earthshaker and the Tamer of Horses. He was Zeus's brother. He always carried a trident, like the big pitchfork thing, and during the Trojan War, he sent a sea monster to attack the walls of Troy. So, okay, we're at the end now. We're going to finish with Zeus. I think I've mentioned him several times already. You probably know a lot about him already. He's the god that everyone seems to know. Big dude, had a beard, threw lightning bolts at people, slept with everyone. One time, his wife, Hera, caught him fooling around with a mortal woman, so he turned himself into a cow to hide from her. It did not work. When he was a kid, he killed his father. He's probably the most important figure you should focus on. He kind of ran the show at Mount Olympus. So that's pretty much everything you need to know. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the book.